Mulder is pushed to the edge when confronted with a choice, Scully's life for Samantha's. There are clones everywhere in this conclusion to the two-parter.
Can Mulder get the closure he's been searching for with the sudden reappearance of Samantha?
This is not happening.
Your partner is alive.
How do you know?
He took her to get me.
There's no sign of a break-in. She wouldn't have just let him in.
She might not have known who he was. She might have thought it was you. He's gonna contact you. He's gonna say he wants to make a trade, your partner's life for mine.
Why? Why does he want to kill you?
Because I know how to kill him.
How?
By piercing the base of his skull.
Well, I'll kill anybody.
Yes, but this is the only way to kill him, and it must be precise. I'm fairly sure it'll work.
Fairly sure?
He's got powers I've never seen before. If it doesn't work, there's a chance you could die.
From what?
Their blood is toxic. Human exposure to it is fatal. I know this must seem incredible to you.
No. That's just it. It doesn't seem incredible at all. Now, how do we find him?
We don't. He'll find us.
Welcome back, lovely listeners, to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast. I am Andrew, and with me, as always, is Mike. Mike, how are you today?
I am well, sir.
Well enough to look at Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah.
Yes.
Conclusion of the two-parter.
Episode 17 of Season 2, written by Frank Spotnitz. His first episode. How do you feel about that?
I'm happy to see it, because I enjoy Frank Spotnitz's contributions, and I think he did a pretty good job here. I've always maintained that he is the handler of Chris Carter, meaning he reins him in when he needs to. That's just how it comes off to me.
Yeah,
not always successful, but as we all know, Frank Spotnitz was not a part of season 10, and we all know how the mythology went there.
Wait, in a nutshell, how did it go there? I'm not sure if I know how you feel about that.
Not good.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yes, Frank Spotnitz, I'm always happy to see. He writes some good stuff, especially later on, and this episode's enjoyable for me.
Also worth noting, it's directed by Rob Bowman. I think they whip him out anytime they've got these big sweeping cinematic things that they got to do. And
that could just be a Rob Bowman choice, though.
He'd be like, "I'm going to do this because no one else
doing
can do
this."
It'd be interesting to know what the politics were between the choice of the sort of repeat directors, the series directors, not the one shots. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Nick Mark for the last episode got, an important mythology episode. He doesn't do anything else in the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it is a bit strange.
So it's like, interesting. Well, maybe he had a very healthy backlog of works he's done before this.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. Well, I can't remember the air dates of Buffy, but I mean, he'll do 7 episodes in that. So like,
I think Buffy's not even out yet. It hasn't even started.
Right.
Because this is 95.
Well, luckily we're not talking about that episode, so we don't have to
We're not talking about that.
But you're right. I mean, in this case, I think they had to wrap it up successfully. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And like you would have thought that they would have paired the first time script of David Duchovny / Chris Carter, obviously, but with a Kim Manners or, one of their bigger directors so that it could be dealt with well, especially it's a big mythology two-parter, right? So,
well, for what it's worth, he did a good job. The episode did well.
He did. I mean, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe they didn't like working with him, so then they said, "You know what? Congratulations, it was great, but we're not going to hire you again.
You're fired."
Or he had a bad time. Maybe it's like, I'm not going to. Thanks, guys. This was fun, but I'm never doing this.
I'm scared of aliens.
I want to deal with vampires.
You didn't tell me that's what the shapeshifter was. No, you did not tell me that. And then we never saw him again.
And then he disappeared. It's terrible. It's unfortunate. Well, Mike,
kidding.
Are you ready to descend into the waters again?
Oh boy.
For a discussion of Endgame, the second and concluding part of our two-part.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let us dive as we open underwater and a submarine passes by the camera to Mark Snow's sweeping soundtrack. This is the USS Allegiance, 67 miles north of Dead Horse, Alaska, actually a place, cruising at a depth of 1,000 feet. The captain enters the situation room to talk to the sonar officer. They've picked up a reading of some kind of object, 80 meters across, and it's noisy, emitting random radio signals across the spectrum. The captain phones home, calling Pacific Command, and after some exposition, they're on a cartography mission. They're not equipped to... What? He receives new orders. He returns to the sonar officer and calls up the weapons room, ordering them to lock torpedoes on the target and prepare to fire, despite the protests of his sonar officer. Suddenly, a high-pitched sound fills the sub and stations explode in sparks. The sub loses power, reduced to red emergency lights, and the captain heads to the engine room, ordering the crew to prepare to surface. As he leaves, the radar officer laments that they won't be able to surface as they're below 32 feet of glacial ice.
Fuck
credits.
that. Ugh. I'm sorry. You could not pay me enough. Especially in light of recent events.
Oh, listen.
To get on a sub. And not to mention be under ice.
This submarine's better than that.
And you know what? I fully believe that. I have my faith in the military's equipment and vehicles.
Yeah.
No.
It's
absolutely not.
It's not directed by an Xbox controller.
It's not directed by I'm not pressing X to go.
Yeah.
So something's wrong.
The up button to go up, the down button to go down, the joystick to go
You know what? I'm going to take offense at that, Andrew. Is that what you think I am? Just some guy who plays video games all day? And
not all day. Not all of the day. Yeah, I'm sure you work for a living.
Wow.
Well, on that point of technology, I'm no submarine officer, but I've seen some sub movies, and I'm pretty sure there's a windy up thing that lets you use the intercom when there's no power. Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah. I guess I don't know where that would be implemented or how. So,
well, they don't say.
I will take your word for it that it would be on this specific sub.
I would believe it. I need to know where this fits in with the episode we previously saw, because we've had the intro from the previous episode.
I think it's with that.
So it happens kind of after.
I think this is the second half of that opening. I think because the signal that destroyed their equipment or whatever was the bounty hunter on his ship or whatever. He was doing something.
Yeah.
To do that. And, obviously as this episode progresses, we'll get some more answers as to what happened to them. But
right.
I think, this is the second half of that crash opening of the first episode.
That makes sense. Okay. So I was asking, is this another UFO in the Arctic Sea, or is this the first UFO? It's not really clear, but I accept your premise that this is just a continuation of the colony opening scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back at Vacation Village, we pick up the episode where we left off in Colony with the imposter Mulder in Scully's room. Pardon me, it may not be the imposter Mulder. Maybe this is the real Mulder and imposter's on the phone. We don't know.
Well, tell you what.
Yeah.
If it's not, or if it is the imposter Mulder, he's got David Duchovny's mannerisms down very well.
This is actually David Duchovny's twin, Sam. Little known fact.
Samuel Duchovny,
David Duchovny, brothers. They look very similar.
David was trying to help get his little brother's career
shot
off the ground.
Yeah. Crazy. They look very similar, though.
But then he punches Gillian Anderson.
Really ended his career.
It really ended his career as soon as it began. Poor Sam.
Well, Scully's on the line with who we assume is the real Mulder. Scully has some small talk with Mulder, where have you been? And then she quickly gets her pistol and holds Mulder at gunpoint. Well, he's like, no, I'm the real Mulder. What are you talking about? I'll slowly get my ID. What's going on, Scully? And then he quickly spins around and blindsides her, sending her into the wall. A scary Mulder hoists Scully up against the wall by her throat, asking ominously, where is he? And if we didn't know this is the baddie, we do now. And when Scully plays innocent, the alien bounty hunter throws her into the glass coffee table where she lands with a grunt and falls unconscious. He then shifts into his normal Brian Thompson form and leers into the camera. Now, Mike, apparently, Scully's grunt when she crashes through the table was added in post by standards and practices so we wouldn't think she had been killed.
Really?
Yeah. And
Interesting.
Spotnitz calls that out. He's like, perfectly good scene, but they had this big deal like, oh my goodness, that was such a hard hit. We're going to think that she's dead.
You got to love producers and network executives who think and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of stupid people out there, but she's not, for God's sake, let us finish the episode before you get on the phone and complain that everyone, oh my God, she's dead. Do they think that we're not going to finish the episode to see what happened, or just make all these calls because fucking stupid? I don't personally have a problem with the grunt or anything, but knowing that that's why it's there just pisses me off. It's like,
and I don't think
we can't handle it.
Well, and I don't think that it would actually mean anything. Like, she could very easily die 2 seconds after the grunt. Like,
right. Well, yeah, it's just stuff like that, because I believe the first season they were up in arms about the way it ended. They're like, well, they're going to think the show's not going to come back. The X-Files is closed.
You're right.
Oh, yeah, okay. Viewership doesn't matter in this TV show.
Well, if we're going to segue there, then I don't think they did a great job with episode 1 of season 2, Little Green Men, as a way to
That's true.
Bring the show back.
They leveraged that viewership for a subpar episode.
Yeah. Really should have started with the one after that.
Host.
Later on, Mulder breaks into Scully's hotel room with Samantha, but there's no sign of Scully except for the fight. Samantha uses Mulder's superpower at this point to predict the plot, letting Mulder and us know that the ABH has taken Scully to use as leverage to get Samantha, and that she may have been tricked by his shape-shifting abilities. Samantha then dumps a bit of exposition on us. The bounty hunter will want to kill Samantha because she knows how to kill him. Now they can only wait for him to call and offer this trade. Mike, why doesn't the alien bounty hunter just stake out Mulder's apartment?
Because it's too easy.
It's too easy? Yeah.
It's too easy. You got to make it complicated.
It's true. He's got to find a phone. Got to look him up.
The X-Files way.
Do you think Mulder's listed in the phone book?
Under S for spooky.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Or one of his author anagrams.
Yes.
What was the one that the lone gunman called him out as?
MF Looter?
Looter, that's right. MF Looter. That was a good one. Yeah. So, well, he's a terrible pilot, but he's a great investigator, apparently.
He can investigate, and he can hold people hostage like nobody else.
He is good at some things. Later on at Mulder's apartment, Samantha drops a bunch of mythology exposition, propelling the mythology arc forward in leaps and bounds.
The men you've been seeking are the progeny of 2 original visitors, clones who've been attempting to establish a colony here since the late 1940s.
A colony?
Loosely. The community by necessity is dispersed. They're clones identical to my parents living in virtually every part of the country.
What are they trying to accomplish?
It's their belief that our stewardship of the planet is being forsaken, and that by default they'll someday become the natural heirs.
And in the meantime?
Through hybridization, they've been working to erase that aspect which has forced the community to scatter their identical natures.
All the clones worked in abortion clinics. Why?
Access to fetal tissue. Though the biologies are incompatible, they finally found a way to combine human DNA with alien DNA.
And this man, why has he been sent to kill them?
The experiments weren't sanctioned. It was considered a dilution of their species, a pollution of their race. So a bounty hunter was dispatched to destroy them and terminate the colony.
That's a good story. But I've heard a lot of good stories lately.
I've got no reason to lie to you. I'm your sister Fox. You have to trust me.
That assumes that there is a alien higher up who is looking down at this whole plan and went, no, you didn't get the right permits. And we're gonna wipe it out. So sorry. That is not going to fly.
Excuse me, they're doing what? Just in the alien boardroom. Hey, Thomas, where's Johnson?
Where did Johnson go with all those samples? What is he doing? What's this Earth business? All right, so that would have been a pretty big deal in 96 when you were watching this. Be like, holy shit, this plot just got real, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of why
a lot of shit going on.
I watched the show a lot for the mythology and like moving the grand story forward. And this is like a huge chapter in it. Now, it's not really all true, but, or at least it's not completely true for Mulder, but.
Yeah, they abandoned a lot of what's being said here. So I don't know if this is supposed to be
canon,
actual mythology, or she's just feeding him a line.
Well, it's kind of what he needs to know in order to ally with her, you know. She needs to keep him on board, give him answers. And it's interesting the parallel between what she says and what Ambrose says in the previous episode. You know, I'm going to tell you a story and you may not believe it, but here's the truth. And of course, it's all a lie, right?
Right.
Interesting.
But we all know Mulder is eager to believe a good story.
Yeah. All right, well, there's a knock at the door. Picking up his gun, Mulder goes to answer. It's Skinner. Samantha hides and Mulder lets Skinner into a darkened apartment. Skinner's been trying to reach Mulder. He tells us about Scully's actions in protecting the 4 clone doctors, and that those doctors are now missing. They're probably green piles of goo in their cells. Meanwhile, Samantha sneaks around behind him with her spike, the space stiletto, as you call it. But she reveals that this isn't the bounty hunter in a Skinner suit. Mulder reveals that this is his missing sister to a very confused Skinner. And of course, we would have a great scene between Skinner and Mulder. What? This is your sister? But there's a phone call, and it interrupts their exchange. It's Scully, bleeding from a head wound, telling Mulder about the trade the alien bounty hunter wants to make. Samantha for Scully. 1 hour at the old Memorial Bridge. The phone is hung up, and Mulder implores Skinner for his help. Has this episode been dragging you along so far, Mike, or do you have any nagging doubts?
I have nagging doubts just about Samantha, carried over from the last episode.
Of course.
The episode is, I'm on board still. I'm enjoying it. I think it crescendos here a little bit. The opening scene with Scully getting choked out was scary and interesting, but then, Skinner arrives and Mulder's allowing this woman who he's just met to sneak up on his superior and, who's a bounty hunter and who's not. So that tension of who can we trust and who's not what they look like, which is a new aspect to who do you trust in this show.
Very much so.
Because now there are face changers and it's shapeshifters. It's
a great method for subverting the expectation, because so far it's been, you know who the allegiances can be faithful, right? Like you have assessed that, okay, I can trust Skinner. I can kind of trust X, but maybe not. Certainly Mulder can trust Scully and Scully can trust Mulder, but the great cliffhanger for this episode was the questioning of that, right? She is vulnerable because she does trust somebody who looks like Mulder, and then that's all subverted. It's very neat.
Yeah.
We cut to the old Memorial Bridge in Bethesda, Maryland at night. We see Skinner and a sniper hidden in a distant perch, announcing that Mulder is in position. Mulder lays out the plan. They're going to make it look like they'll make the trade, but then they'll shoot the ABH in the base of the neck. A second car approaches. It's our bounty hunter with Scully. He gets out, taking Scully along at gunpoint. Mulder signals for Samantha to come out. The tension is palpable. Samantha slowly walks towards the bounty hunter. The sniper looks for his opening. The ABH releases Scully and takes Samantha in one smooth motion, and the sniper misses his opportunity. ABH walks away slowly, and Samantha tries to attack the bounty hunter with her alien space stiletto, but she's no match for him. Mulder, gun drawn, announces that there's nowhere to go, the bridge is surrounded, and the bounty hunter ominously asks Samantha to tell me where she is. The sniper finds his shot and takes it. Bounty hunter and Samantha tumble over the bridge into the water below. A frantic Mulder rushes to the edge, screaming Samantha's name, and we fade to commercial.
No!
Samantha.
That's what they should do every time. Every time he calls for her, Samantha.
Do it in slow motion, and then it'll have the little half fade of young Mulder, so that we have the real, echo
Yeah,
of
so
the past. He's lost.
we know it's young Mulder crying out for his sister once more.
Yeah. Oh, heartstrings. Well, what did you think of that one? It's a powerful scene.
It's good stuff.
Tense.
Good stuff. The tables are turned. It's tense. We get the loss of our two main characters here. Like the bounty hunter and Samantha go tumbling over the bridge, and it's like, okay, how's this going to turn out?
Yeah, exactly.
We're happy to see Scully back, but Jesus,
at what cost? Yeah. This isn't the same bridge that they had in Redux. This is.
I don't know. I don't think so. I know
what
are you talking about the red and the black?
Oh, I am talking about the red and black, not Redux.
It might be. I'd have to see it, get a better angle, but yeah.
British Columbia is only so big. They've only got so many bridges.
I wouldn't be surprised. But no, actually, no, it's not, because there's a waterfall next to that one, isn't there?
Maybe.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I could be wrong. It's possible. After the commercial, it's day, and we see divers searching the river. Mulder watches the search as Scully arrives, having discharged herself from the hospital. Neither body has been located. Mulder asks if Samantha could survive. Scully is cautiously noncommittal, as the water is 36 degrees. Now, I don't know about Fahrenheit, but I believe that is just above freezing.
So all I can picture in this is Lloyd Christmas going, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah. So, absolutely, yes, okay. Well, Scully wants to know why Mulder didn't tell her that this woman was her sister. Mulder replies that if he did, Scully wouldn't have let him go through with it. Mm-hmm. To which I say, when was there an opportunity?
Yeah.
Because, they had one phone call where she was kind of at gunpoint.
Right.
But
couldn't just have like a casual conversation on what's going on.
And they literally had no chance to talk to each other. They had all this missing of phone calls, and the guy couldn't take a message. Like, they literally did not have an opportunity to talk to each other.
You know what this is? This is one of those things that they have to put in there. This, you wouldn't have let me do it if I told you. Yeah. It's the same thing as, you're too close to this case. You can't just go home and we'll contact you.
Give me your gun and your badge. You're suspended.
Yeah, your gun and your badge. It's the standard Hollywood stuff.
Magruder, you're fired. Scully's confused as to why Mulder can be so trusting. The alien bounty hunter can change his shape after all, but this is an area where Mulder has a lot of blind faith. Deflated, Mulder goes to tell the bad news to his parents, which I think, is easier for him to be at the crime scene, sort of waiting for something to happen, as opposed to actually going to have to go home and tell his folks.
Remember that daughter you lost, and then she came back some 22 years later? She's gone.
Funny story.
Bye.
I traded.
Well, this time she's most likely dead.
Yeah,
the good news is there. We have some closure.
Yeah, exactly. We thought she was dead before. You had 6 hours with her. Wasn't that great?
You know how last time I didn't know where she went? Well, this time I know exactly where she went.
This time it's going to be so much better. We can have a funeral.
We're going to have a body.
Yeah.
Likely open casket. I don't think much mangling unless her face hit a rock.
Yeah, unless she melts or something. The odds of that happening are very, very slim.
Good news there, too. Yeah, we've got a high percentage of not melting.
Not melting. Actual human.
Please don't be mad.
Later on at the apartment, Mulder tells his father that Samantha has disappeared, that he lost her. William is confused, and Mulder tries to explain Mulder had to trade Samantha for his partner. Mulder says he'll tell his mother, and a furious William asks Mulder if he knows what this will do to her. Mulder breaks down. Before William leaves, he leaves an envelope for Mulder, something Samantha left for him at the house. Mulder opens the envelope. It contains a note and a key card. The note reads, "If anything should happen to me or we become separated, you must meet me here, 1235 91st Street, Rockville, Maryland." What did you think of Weepy Mulder in this scene?
I didn't mind it. It's very boyish, very juvenile in the sense that he's looking down a lot. He's afraid of this man in a way that not outwardly afraid, like I'm afraid he's going to strike me or something, but the relationship is so poor that he just collapses in front of this guy. Like, he feels so responsible for the loss of Samantha as a kid and now here. So I buy that he's truly, truly nervous that he's lost an actual Samantha. You know, as the viewers, we can guess, well, it may not be her. It's probably not her. But Mulder in this moment, I think, was bought in completely.
I didn't have any inkling that she was a clone at this point. I was on
No,
board
not a clone.
Yeah, I know later on, obviously we know, but it was a revelation when we have multiple Samanthas later. But right. I was bought in. Like, I think this is one of those cases where there are very few things that will make him fall apart, and this is one of them. He sees it as his fault then, and now he sees it as his fault here. Mm-hmm. It's hugely difficult, and that he's got to reveal this to his father. He's got to answer for this crime, you know, this family crime, matched by William Mulder being legitimately bottled up furious. Like, I think it's a really effective scene. And you know, Williams he's got that attitude of like, how dare you let this happen, you know, and this is going to crush this woman who, you know, this relationship tore us apart. We maybe had an inkling that we were going to get together. I don't know. This is really, really dense.
It's powerful.
I like it.
Yeah.
So Mulder reads that note, and then we cut to an ornate building, which Mulder pulls up to. The legend reads, Women's Health Services Clinic in Rockville, Maryland. Mulder walks up to the gate, filled with hope, as his phone rings. It's Scully, who wants him to return to the scene as soon as possible. They've pulled Samantha's body from the river. Mulder is crestfallen. He asks if they found a second body. They haven't. Well, he turns to go, saying he'll be there as soon as they can. Now, back with Scully, something strange is happening to the body. It is dissolving into green goo. Samantha is a clone. Oh, no. There's a revelation. The gurney that the body is on will never be the same, Mike.
It's probably not going to be anything after that.
They're going to need to go back to purchasing and get a new one.
Let me get this straight. You're telling me green goo ate through the gurney?
That's not a thing.
A human woman turned into this green goo? You're fired.
That's coming out of your pay. Well, back with Mulder, he decides to use the key card to enter. I mean, he drove all this way. He prowls around the building, draws his gun, and searching the halls as ominous pulsing music provides our soundtrack. Do you note the music in this one? There's a weird, almost like a voice in there somewhere. You'll have to go back and listen to that one. I don't know whether it's a sound effect or whether they've added it as part of the music score, but there's just something weird in there, and I didn't know whether or not it's part of the hospital ambiance or whether it's in the music. Either way, it's creepy.
Creepy.
He's creeping up on someone in medical scrubs. He orders her to turn around, and pulling down a mask, we see it's Samantha, or at least an identical clone of Samantha. This Samantha figures that Mulder's only here because the other Samantha is dead, and she beckons him to follow her.
It was all a lie.
We needed your help. We knew you could be manipulated. He'll be coming. We must hurry now.
Who?
The man who's been sent to kill us.
He's dead.
How do you know?
He was shot in the back of the neck.
How did he die?
He fell off a bridge with one of you.
Then we don't know for sure. You could have been followed. Come with me. This way, Agent Mulder. The rest of us are dispensable. She was the first, the one from which we all came, the one you must save.
I'm not your savior.
You must help us. You have no choice.
No, I do have a choice. And my choice is to walk out of here.
We know where your sister is. Ask yourself, Agent Mulder, how else would we know so much about her?
We enter another room with another Samantha who is monitoring several green tubes filled with hybrid embryos, as we have seen in the previous episode. Mulder's shocked as he realizes he's been had.
The look on his face.
Oh, the look on his face, man. He's shooting lightning.
Pissed.
Samantha confirms that they knew he could be manipulated and that they needed his help. The alien bounty hunter is on his way. A third Samantha rounds the corner, doubtful that the ABH has been killed, and leads Mulder through another door. Behind it is revealed a fourth Samantha, the original, the one from which they all came, the one he must save. So, what did you think of this bit?
It's just the story changing one more time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
we have the Russian spy killer story, we have Samantha's story, and now we have this. Now we got to protect the OG Samantha.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's good sort of story within a story within a story. And you can see it on his face. And so much so that he's like, no, I'm done with this. I'm done being manipulated by you, right? He wants to walk away. But they know they have him, as they say that they know where her actual sister is. And how else would they know so much better?
Such a line, right?
Oh, exactly.
Such a line.
Exactly.
Because he was brought here with lines, and now they're like, okay, he's not taking the bait. We know where your sister is. Oh, all right. But Mulder, come on,
Mulder. I mean, what choice does he really have, right?
He doesn't.
To which I put it, what help has he actually been to them?
Yeah. I mean, he got one of them killed.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me the FBI has not been very efficient because all the doctors they put in protective custody are dead. I don't know. I feel like my usual question of what do the agents actually do? Like they're tourists de rigueur here. Like they kind of watch things happen. They go and investigate to try and make a case, but they don't actually do anything. They certainly don't.
Yeah.
Like they kind of run interference maybe and give the clones a chance to get away, but in the end, they're not gonna.
Well, let's see how this one unfolds, Andrew.
Maybe it'll be different this time.
Maybe it'll be different.
An alarm sounds. The bounty hunter is here, and Mulder goes to confront him. He's got his gun drawn. He's purposefully walking through a hazy, smoke-filled corridor, and a single punch from the alien bounty hunter knocks Mulder onto his ass. And the alien bounty hunter draws his iconic space poker and walks deeper into the building. So, great job, Mulder.
Did you notice Brian Thompson screw up in this scene?
I didn't. What's the screw up?
He looks at the camera as it's panning up from Mulder. You'll see him lock eyes with the camera and then like realize what he's doing and continue on with his character.
Oh, I have to watch that.
It's real quick.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Glance down, glance up.
Oh, shit.
Brian, don't look at the camera. After the commercial, the building's on fire, and firefighters battle the blaze. One of them finds Mulder, rescues him, and tells him that he's the only one here. No, there's women in the building. No, they're the only one. So,
just a bunch of goo.
Yeah, my boots are ruined. It's crazy. So do you think that they got out, or do you think that the bounty hunter wiped them all out?
I think he wiped them all out.
He did have that purposeful, stroll to him.
Yeah.
Later, Scully begins to seemingly wrap up the episode with a good old word processing monologue. Mulder's been treated and released for smoke inhalation. The abortion clinic was searched repeatedly and nothing was found. And then Scully turns to the death of Agent Weiss. Remember him? All the way back in the last episode? Well, thinking that understanding his death might provide some further clarity to the case, she discovers that Weiss's blood contained a retrovirus that kills by provoking a thickening of the red blood cells. But if the temperature of the body is lowered by just 5 degrees, it stops the retrovirus going dormant. Mike, it's almost like this will be the key to saving someone.
I remember temperature being important. I can't remember where.
It might have been at the beginning of the previous episode.
Oh.
Could be it.
Could be.
Anyway, file that away. Maybe it'll come back to play. Maybe it won't.
It is so filed.
Later that night, at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., we see our man X walking out into the night, meeting Mulder. He's dressed up in a tux. And we get one of the best lines in the show. How was the opera? Wonderful. I've never slept better.
Never slept better.
Very good. Mulder wants to know where the alien bounty hunter is, and X is surprisingly candid, telling him about the discovery of the craft in the Beaufort Sea, and that an attack fleet is on its way right now to destroy the ship. Mulder wants to go there, but X walks away, telling him basically only fight battles you can win. Now, given that Mulder's been beaten up pretty severely by this guy, he has not won at all against him.
No.
You think he would learn?
Well, that's Mulder's kryptonite, man. It's just that search for the unknown. He needs his answers.
Well,
whenever he has a question, he needs them answered, and there's virtually nothing that's going to stop him.
To be fair, this is the question. This is where's my sister? So yeah, it's his total kryptonite here. We see Scully at Mulder's apartment. Newspapers are stacked against his door. She uses her key and lets herself in, checking his computer. She sees the X taped against his window and finds an email waiting for her. We hear Mulder's voice narrating the email to her. Mulder's going off on his own, and he's decided not to involve her in this personal fight. Scully barges into Skinner's office. She needs his help to find and help Mulder. Scully's desperate to help him and asks if Skinner can find him through unofficial channels. Skinner shuts her down, tells her to leave, but the look on his face after he goes suggests that maybe he's conflicted.
This is Skinner. He really wants to help, but he doesn't want to get involved.
Does he want to help, though? I mean, it really looks like he's saying, don't do it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's more leaning towards don't do it. But I would say, he wants to because he does care about these two agents in some capacity. He believes in their quest insofar as that he will take those cryptic steps sometimes. The whole cigarette wrapping machine in one breath. He will do some.
He will never do anything like that again, right? That's the one shot for that.
That is the one time he used that machine, and he's just glad he got one use out of it.
That's right. Well, either that or he's using it all the time for other agents. Do you think he knows at this point that Mulder has gone off to the Arctic Circle? Or is he just like, no, he said he was going to take some personal time. I believe him.
I don't know specifically that he knows where Mulder's going.
But maybe...
I wouldn't think so.
Scully's motives maybe are what prompt him to be like, oh, damn, maybe he isn't here.
Yeah.
Okay. Later that night, Scully uses the X symbol on the window in Mulder's apartment to try and contact X. She spends the night on Mulder's couch. A knock on the door wakes her. She answers it, meeting X for the first time. Surprised that it's not Mulder, he says, sorry, I must have the wrong apartment, and walks off. She's desperate for him to tell her where Mulder is, but he doesn't budge, returning to the elevator. As he reaches the ground floor, Skinner is revealed to be waiting for him. Did you tell her what she wanted to know, he asks, which leads to a great fist fight in an elevator.
So good.
Skinner looks like he's got the upper hand until X draws his gun and stops the fight in his tracks. Skinner says, you pull that trigger, you'll be killing 2 men. And it seems that finally X relents and tells him, for in our next scene, a bloodied Skinner appears to Dana in Mulder's apartment and gives her Mulder's location. He provides her with the coordinates of his final destination, as well as a pretty comprehensive flight plan, like how he got there. So apparently, Stephen Williams did all the choreography for that fight because his initial role in Hollywood was as a fight director.
Yep.
So he got to choreograph it, and Rob Bowman was dissatisfied with the first take of the fight. So he's like, yeah, do it again, but do it harder. And Pileggi did it with so much strength that the set broke a little bit.
Yeah, I knew that. That's such a cool fact. And these 2 men are imposing dudes, right?
They are.
Mitch Pileggi, he's just so tall, and I can imagine being lifted up and thrown through a wall.
Oh, man.
It would just be so funny. But yeah, I believe every second of this fight, and even the smoothness with which X draws his gun.
And then it just stops, right?
It just stops. It's like, it was done so well.
So
kudos to both these guys. This was a fun, short fight.
Oh, yeah. It didn't need to be longer. It really didn't.
No. Point across, point taken.
Yep. No suplex going down over into the first floor or anything,
Oh my God, a chair!
Pulling a chair into the ring. Well, we cut now to the Arctic. Mulder is consulting a GPS to tell him that he's arrived at his destination. As he trudges through what appears to be a cold, grim Arctic night, he shines his flashlight over the conning tower of a submarine that has emerged through the frozen ice. Mike,
Can I
how
just
many
say
tons
something?
of snow and ice were trucked into a soundstage to create this scene?
I don't know, but I will say this is the coolest set that they've done so far,
Indeed.
in my opinion. I don't know. What is the answer to that? Because I actually don't know.
140 tons of snow and ice.
Jesus.
It is a lot. But I guess because the conning tower is so big, you got to have the camera angle wide to get it into the shot, and thus you need to have a wide scene behind it. So
Almost like you didn't do everything with computers.
I know you had to do it practical in those
Weird.
days. The stage had to be refrigerated for 5 days of shooting.
Although I am surprised because most shows, I want to say, manufacture their snow. And whether or not it's real is obviously to be debated. But a lot of them will actually manufacture, I guess because it's such a wide shot, they would, yeah, I guess this would make more sense. But part of me was like, I'm surprised they didn't use those snow machines that they have.
Well, it's indoors in a soundstage, though. I don't think you can truck those just anywhere.
That's true. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how big they are, but.
Maybe Rob Bowman was like, oh no, we're doing it this way. The hard way.
And that's fine. We flew it in directly from the Arctic Circle to the soundstage.
It's legitimate. You feel it in the snow. Feel the snow.
Feel it. Feel it. It's Arctic Circle snow.
Well, how else do you think we get this ice? We truck it in from the North Pole. You can't just make it.
Yeah.
God.
Can't just freeze water.
Freeze water. That's not legit. Mulder climbs up the tower and enters through a hatch. He shines his flashlight saber through the powerless and pitch black sub, seeing dead bodies everywhere. He hears movement, chases after a fleeing form. He catches up with this fugitive, finding a man scared white and hiding. Mulder interrogates this guy. It's the sonar operator from Colony. Sailor recounts the horrific events of the past. A man came in, locked many of the men below decks without air, and then executed the rest. The survivor lived by hiding under the body of the chief petty officer. But Mulder isn't buying any of it. He demands that the sailor, who he assumes is the alien bounty hunter, tell him where he can find his sister, and then he'll let him return to his ship before it's destroyed. Cunningly, Mulder slaps the cuffs on the bounty hunter and on himself, so they're locked together. And realizing that the gig's up, the bounty hunter hurls Mulder against the floor and then a bulkhead and totally stuns him. Bounty hunter shifts his shape back to Brian Thompson form and reveals to Mulder that he could have killed Mulder many times before. He hurls Mulder around a few more times as Mulder begs to know where his sister is. All that the alien bounty hunter will reveal is that she's alive. Can he die now? Then he drags Mulder around. Mulder aims his gun and tries to fire at the base of his neck, but he misses. Green ooze spills from the wound, and Mulder screams in pain as the retrovirus takes effect. The alien bounty hunter drags Mulder to the conning tower, hurls him outside, and closes the hatch, snapping the handcuffs apart, and Mulder falls to the ice below. Okay, that was a lot. Do you have anything you wanted to address in that scene before we go on?
I enjoy the back and forth between these two. I like, even though it's a little unnecessary, you know, the bounty hunter could have just as easily killed Mulder or knocked him out or something instead of deal with all his questions and whatever. That's fine. I don't really mind that. I do take note, and I urge everyone else to take note that he says his sister is alive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, aside from what's about to happen next, you know, I think the story is pretty exciting.
Oh, definitely. It's exciting. I like the scene. And definitely there's a Lear factor here, right? Like when he said, I could have killed you many times. And there will be...
The script won't allow me.
Yeah, you have thick plot armor, sir. Like, he'll make several return appearances, but there is certainly a moment where he's going to have his conversation with the cigarette smoking man. And there is the definite vindication of the plot armor. It's like Mulder is officially off limits.
Yep.
So a moment passes with Mulder on the icy floor below the conning tower, and suddenly lights come on, and the tower begins to descend. It looks like it's all over for Mulder, as the descending guillotine-like fin of the tower is going to rend him in twain, but at last moment, he is able to roll out of the way. I don't know if I needed this moment. It's really convoluted. I get that they spent a lot of money to make a movable conning tower. It looks like the thing is going back down below the glacial ice.
It's cool. The last minute escape I really don't care for. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Not important. What I'm looking at are the fucking lights against that backdrop. It's just really cool.
Oh, it's
really beautiful.
Marvelous looking. This is Rob Bowman, at his finest, putting that scene together. Like, this is his wedding dress for this moment. It's really, it's really quite great to look at. I come back to the alien bounty hunter as this man with exceptional skills in some areas and just complete garbage in others. Like, he knows how to drive a nuclear sub. Well,
this is the official. He's decided to throw his reprimand to the wind.
Yeah,
and pilot another vehicle.
I see him slapping his hands together, saying, "All right, Gary, I
can't crash this."
Yeah, there's no way. I better not rip the door off, or else it's going to burn. But otherwise, I'll be fine.
Better hope that thing's pressurized.
That's right. I closed the door, right? Oh, Gary!
Oh no!
So with all that, we cut back to our initial scene from Colony, with Scully barging into the medical emergency that is Mulder, submerged in a warming tank. Scully bombards the attending physician with her information, essentially telling him that he's doing it all wrong, and that if he doesn't do it her way, Mulder's going to die. The physician laments, and we enter into an ER-type scene, complete with the trope of defibrillator paddles to restart Mulder's heart, which is not a thing, but it was in 1996. Whatever. She orders multiple medications with long, sciencey names and frozen plasma, and then strokes his hair affectionately. He's gonna make it, damn it. We fade into Scully waiting by Mulder's side. Her monologue reveals that Mulder's getting steadily better, and that search teams haven't located the submarine or the man that Mulder was chasing. Time passes, as does her monologue, and she firmly cements her status as the skeptic, while there are several aspects of the case that are unexplainable, suggesting the possibility of paranormal phenomena. She's convinced that science can explain it all. After all, it was science that isolated the retrovirus, and the science that saved Mulder's life. Finally, Mulder awakens to a smiling Scully. Scully tells Mulder how he got there. Mulder apologizes. He couldn't let her risk his life for his cause. She asks if he found what he was looking for, and while he replies that he didn't, he says he did find something he thought he'd lost, the faith to keep looking. End of episode. Mike?
So sweet. My only comment on that is you can't let her risk her life for his cause, but that is always what you're doing.
Yes.
Outside of this episode.
So much so that later on he will comment on it, like, did I tell her all the risks? Did she? Maybe. Oh, no, it wasn't even later on. It was in...
It was in one breath.
In one breath, exactly. He's like, well, geez, maybe I am. Maybe this is dangerous for her. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. But,
whoops. Well, maybe he's learned from that. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, I understand.
Great.
I understand why the episode had to go this way. I think it's a shame that it's always Scully that's the damsel in distress, and they have to come up with a wacky plan to get her out of it. Although they really are hamstrung to make it any other way. Like, this is Mulder's episode.
I don't know. I know that it happens, so I'm not oblivious. Obviously, Irresistible and plenty of other episodes where she has found herself in danger. But
yeah,
I think they're both equally in danger. And they both equally get each other out of this shit. So I know people complain that Scully feels like she's always the damsel in distress, but I kind of push back on that. I think it's very, very tight.
Well, she does.
And I could be wrong on that, but I think they're both on that scale of they take their turns.
Yeah, they do, and so much so that she saves his life with her science. So
yeah,
yep, that's fair.
So I'm happy with it. So overall, the episode, I think it's really good. I think these are two episodes where it's hard for me to choose, but if I had to, I'd probably go with this one.
I would go with this one too, actually. Yeah.
I think it's just,
I have the data to prove it. Like the first one, I've got the bullet points
Yeah, right.
And I wasn't prompted to find any of them in this one. So I think the evidence is in.
Andrew measures his likeness scale by how many pages of notes he has. But yeah, I think this one's great. Rob Bowman, of course, he knocks it out of the park. And yeah, the combination of him and Mark Snow, and then just the continuation from Colony. Frank Spotnitz did a great job here. He tied it all together. We got some answers that it was all a bunch of malarkey, and it was a tool to get Mulder to kind of believe a little bit more that he should keep looking for his sister. Something that really hasn't come up for a while.
I think they did that thing of refinding the faith to move on better in Little Green Men, because the episode opens with that. It's a theme, and then it explores how he regains that. Whereas that's never really a factor in this episode. Like, he's certainly willing to pursue the quest for his sister because that is who he is. But I never found a moment there where he was like, oh, I'm done. Like, certainly he's done when the manipulation is revealed and he's like, I can't be involved with this because all the shit you've put me through. But I never felt like he was going to go away. He was going to walk away completely, that he's completely done. So the idea that I found the faith to keep looking, it's like, no, you've just found a little more evidence maybe.
Yeah, it is an awkward line because it's Mulder and he never really ever loses faith to keep asking questions and find truth with capital T.
Well, maybe later seasons where he it's convinced he's convinced it's all a hoax, which is a nice reboot.
Well, that's the
series, but I think it's another great mythology episode. To my taste, the better of the two episodes. The first is a good shocker, and it tackles the mystery of Samantha, which is smart. They haven't really covered it yet. But in Endgame, we get the revelation that this was not, in fact, the real Samantha, the ultimate bait and switch. And it means that the storyline...
it works here.
It does, it
does work.
It's not that this isn't Samantha, it's that it's one of many Samanthas. And this, the way it's dropped, the way this whole thing is dropped in Mulder's lap felt even a little anticlimactic. It's just a phone call from his dad saying, you should come over. There's something we need to tell you.
It was a little worrisome on that aspect for me. And I think that's why I was skeptical at first. When I first watched this so many years ago, it's like, this doesn't feel important enough.
It doesn't feel earned, I think.
It's really not.
Because it should be the result of a big quest, the boss fight, and then boom, you get your sister. But in this case, it's just given to you. And I think they do set it up well in that she's revealed as part of the plot, and then she shows up for dinner. She's at their house, and that's like, okay, there's something more than just this fantastical reveal that she's involved in, and that's part of the mystery. And I like that, but that was the first red flag that everything is not what it seems. She is not what she seems.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great way to introduce the Samantha storyline, that she's a clone and she's an integral part of the conspiracy. It's going to be drawn on greatly over a number of episodes to come. I liked it. I don't think it was... I don't think it was amazing. I think we've had better two-parters, but I think it was a very good one. And as always, they treat the mythology stuff with a lot of attention. And I think it's really good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, we've explored the listener comments for this pair of episodes in the previous episode, Colony. So if you want to hear more listener comments, you're out of luck, or you can go back to the previous episode and listen to those. Essentially, not a great, people didn't love this one, but it's still good. So Mike, unless you got anything else to say, I think that brings us to the end of the Colony / Endgame doubleheader.
Yeah, it was a great two-parter, and I hope everyone out there enjoyed it. As a reminder to anyone listening currently, these were released out of order just because we had a scheduling conflict, so they should fall back into the correct order on your feed. So I'm good. Andrew, if you're good, please.
I'm also good. We have reached the end of Endgame. Lovely listeners, thanks for joining us on this. It's always a pleasure to talk X-Files. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will both look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.